When it comes to the prophet Daniel and the apostle John, Yahweh had given these two men visions involving a succession of beasts and giving Daniel a prophetic dream depicting an immense image, all representing human governments that will be crushed by Yahweh. These accounts of Daniel and John represent an identity of 8 kings or human rulers and the sequence of these events. But to understand these prophecies, we have to take into account the very first prophecy recorded in the Bible, which would be in Genesis. Now, after Adam and Eve rebelled, the promise that a woman would produce a seed, and that seed would bruise the serpent, also known as Satan, in the head. Now that seed would come through Abraham, belonging to the nation of Israel, being a Judean, and being a descendant of King David. Hence, that seed would prove to be Jesus Christ, and he will crush the head of the serpent, Satan. The prophecy also states that Satan would produce a seed as well. This seed represents all of those who oppose Yahweh and his people. Now, throughout history, various political movements or kingdoms have come about, but only relatively few man-made kingdoms have had major influence on Yahweh's people, whether it be the nation of Israel or the congregation of anointed Christians. This explains why the visions of Daniel and John describe a total of 8 major powers. At the close of the 1st century CE, a resurrected Jesus had given the apostle John a series of visions. In one of these visions, John saw Satan, represented as a dragon, standing on the shore of a vast sea. He also had seen a beast rise from the very sea that received authority from Satan. An angel informs John that the 7 heads of the scarlet beast, which is an image of the beast of Revelation 13:1, represented 7 kings or governments. At the time of John's writing, 5 of those governments had fallen. 1 was currently in power, and 1 had not yet arrived. Now, let's look deeper into what kingdoms or world powers were identified with the heads of the beasts. Egypt is the first head of this beast. This is so because Egypt was the first major power to express enmity toward God's people, which at the time would be Israel. The descendants of Abraham, through whom the promised seed of the woman would come, had come to grow numerous in Egypt. Then Egypt oppressed Israel. Satan wanted to wipe out God's people before the seed could arrive. And so, here at this time period, the Pharaoh planned to execute all male Israelite children. Yahweh thwarted that attempt and freed the Israelites from enslavement from Egypt. Soon after, the Israelites were to be established in the Promised Land. Assyria is the second head of the beast. This major power also attempted to wipe out God's people. But take note, the Bible states that Yahweh used Assyria to punish the 10-tribe kingdom for their idolatry and rebellion. However, Assyria then attacked Jerusalem. This attack was not part of Yahweh's purpose, and his people was delivered by destroying these invaders. Babylon is the third head of the beast. Around this time, Babylon overthrew Jerusalem and had taken Yahweh's people into captivity. Now take note that Yahweh warned the rebellious Israelites that this event was coming to them. He also foretold that the line of human kings who were to sit on Yahweh's throne in Jerusalem would be removed. He also promised that the descendant of King David, one who had legal rights, would reclaim authority. Another prophecy stated that the Jews would still be worshiping at the temple in Jerusalem when the promised Messiah arrived. An earlier prophecy, written before Israel was taken captive to Babylon, stated that this very person would be born in Bethlehem. Now, for all this to be true, the Jews would have to be freed from captivity, return to their homeland, and rebuild the temple. The prophet Daniel was among the captives taken to Babylon. Yahweh used him to reveal the succession of kingdoms that would follow that world power. Yahweh disclosed these events using various symbols. For example, he caused the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar to have a dream of an immense image that was made of various metals. Through Daniel, Yahweh revealed that the gold head of the image symbolized the Babylonian Empire. The world power under Babylon is pictured by the beast and the arms of silver. Medo-Persia is the 4th head of the beast. From about a century before Daniel's time, Yahweh revealed through the prophet Isaiah about the world power that will conquer Babylon. Yahweh disclosed the manner of how Babylon would be defeated and the name of the conqueror, which was Cyrus the Persian. Daniel had received 2 other visions regarding the Medo-Persian world power. In one, the kingdom was described symbolically as something like a bear that has risen up on one side, and it was told to eat much fish. And the second vision given to Daniel at this time, he saw a dual world power symbolized by a 2-horned ram. When the Medo-Persian Empire overthrew Babylon, Israel was restored to their homeland. However, this very same world power came close to eradicating Yahweh's people. The book of Esther recorded a plot thought out by the prime minister of Persia named Haman. Haman arranged for the extermination of all Jews who lived in the Persian Empire. He also placed a date on when the genocide would happen. According to the Bible, it was only possible because of Yahweh's intervention that his people were protected from Satan's seed. Greece is the fifth head. When Daniel was interpreting Nebuchadnezzar's dream, Daniel revealed that the same power would symbolize the copper belly and thighs of the immense image. At this time, Daniel received two more visions. In one vision, Greece was described as a leopard that had 4 wings, symbolizing that the empire would conquer swiftly. The other vision was described as a goat with a single prominent horn that would kill the 2-horned ram, Medo-Persia. Yahweh then told Daniel the goat represented Greece and its horn represented one of its kings. Daniel went on to say that the large horn would be broken and 4 smaller horns would grow in its place. Keep in mind that this was recorded hundreds of years before Greece became dominant. Now, Alexander the Great was a prominent king of ancient Greece that led a charge on Medo-Persia. Alexander then died at the age of 32, paralleling the prominent horn. After killing the ram, his kingdom was divided among 4 generals. Later, after conquering Persia, Greece ruled over the land of Yahweh's people. By this time, the Jews were resettled in the Promised Land and had rebuilt the temple in Jerusalem. They were still God's chosen people, but in the 2nd century BCE, Greece, the 5th head of the wild beasts, attacked Yahweh's people. Antiochus IV, one of Alexander's hearers, divided the temple, made practicing the Jewish religion a crime, punishable by death. Rome is the 6th head. When John received a vision of the wild beasts, Rome was a dominant power. The 6th head played an important role in fulfillment of the prophecy recorded at Genesis 3:15. The Roman officials delivered a blow, temporarily crippling the seed, bruising it in the heel. This is proven when Jesus was tried on the false charge of sedition, and Jesus was executed. The religious leaders of Israel conspired with Rome against Jesus, plus the majority of the nation also rejected them. Therefore, Yahweh abandoned natural Israel as his people. By then, Yahweh chose a new nation, the Israel of God. That nation was the congregation of anointed Christians made up of both Jews and Gentiles. After Jesus' death and resurrection, the seed of the serpent, or Satan's seed, expressed hatred toward the seed of the woman. At times, Rome tried to wipe out the Christian congregation, the secondary part of the seed. In the dream that Daniel interpreted for Nebuchadnezzar, Rome would be the legs of iron on the immense image. Daniel also saw a vision that describes the next world power that would grow out of Rome. For centuries, Rome appeared to her enemies to be fearsome and terrible and unusually strong. However, the prophecy foretold that the 10 horns would grow from this empire and one particular would gain prominence. But what are these horns? This will be continued in the next video.